Am I guilty for telling my sister she doesn't deserve our mom's attention and sympathy after finding out her fiancé cheated? I'm 26 and have a younger sister, Bela, 23, and we've had a tense relationship for the past 10 years. Back when I was 6 and she was 3, our dad, 47, cheated on our mom, also 47, which destroyed the family. My mom was working hard in med school and while also trying to parent me and my sister. My dad was the type of man who was resentful that my mom had the audacity to find a way to continue school instead of dropping out and being a wife to him. Instead of talking to my mom, he became passive-aggressive, would try to sabotage, and eventually started his affair with my stepmom, Judy, 44 years old. Something my mom found out about after coming home and catching them in her bed. Bela and I were really young, so my mom decided not to tell us the truth, and Judy used that to get in our good graces. I was always polite and distant, but Bela was young enough for it to work, and it wasn't long before she started calling Judy Mom, which really ticked off my mom, but Judy and my dad loved it. I found out the truth when I was 10 and became a lot more cold and angry whenever I had to go to my dad's place. My mom tried to put me into therapy, but Judy and my paternal grandma didn't think it was needed, so my dad wouldn't consent to it, which my mom had to take him to court over. When Bela was 13, she started getting on me about refusing to want to do anything with Judy for Mother's Day, as well as not helping to convince our mom to share the day with Judy since they were both our moms. I snapped and told her the truth. She didn't believe it at first, but when Judy's brother confirmed it, she did sulk about it for about a week, but then went back to being loving towards Judy. In her words, it was a long time ago. Cheating happens. You can't stop love. And that everything worked out in the end. She said that frequently to Mom and started a campaign to try and force our mom to forgive Dad and accept Judy. She actually said that she would be a bad mom if she hated our dad and Judy more than she could love her. To her credit, my mom did try, but Judy was such a passive-aggressive mean girl that Mom just washed her hands of the situation. When it was time for Bela's high school graduation, she gave our mom an ultimatum. Either sit next to Judy for the entire ceremony and pay for her and our dad's share of the bill for dinner. My mom would go pay for everyone else but them. Or she won't be invited to her graduation at all. Our mom sat out the graduation and didn't attend the dinner. Judy made a post about how evil some mothers can be for not putting their child first, which Bela liked and shared, and Mom took back the car she gave Bela. It was still in her name. Our mom still paid for Bela's college tuition, but she wouldn't pay for her room and board like she did for me, and she accused our mom of favoritism. After that, Bela and Mom went very low contact, and that's how it's been for years. During this time, Bela met, dated, and got engaged to Ethan, 26 years old. She did send Mom an invite, but I think that was just to get some money out of it. But unfortunately, the engagement was off because Ethan ended up cheating, and Bela found this out after going to the doctor and finding out she caught something from him. Bela reached out to Mom, but she got a, "I'm sorry you're going through this" text. Bela was furious, but I told her, given how she treated our mom and dismissed what Dad and Judy's actions, she shouldn't expect much. Bela, my dad, Judy, and some paternal relatives are calling me an ass, but am I? Am I guilty? And now, let's listen to some comments from the community and answers from the author.
In her words, cheating happens. You can't stop love. Think I would have harshly reminded her of those words. Your sister can go cry to the cheating dad for sympathy. You and your mom are definitely not guilty here. P.S. I think your mom is an absolute star for going through studies, raised kids, and dealt with a cheater plus the one he cheated with.
Not guilty. Why is Bela upset? If she can insist your mom should forgive your dad and Judy, she should forgive Ethan and his affair partner, attend their wedding and send a very expensive present or pay for their wedding dinner.
Her wanting to maintain a relationship with your dad and his new wife is fine, but throwing it in your mom's face was like stabbing her heart. Her blackmailing your mom to sit next to the affair partner and buying their meal, presumably cause she makes more money, is so disgusting. I'm sorry especially to your mom. Guess your sister learned manipulation from your dad and stepmom. You're not guilty here. Maybe someday she will understand how they used parental alienation to destroy her relationship with you guys.
My mom definitely makes more. The kind where she was able to take 18 months off of work to be a doctor in an impoverished country for no pay without having to change her lifestyle when she got back home. My mom's also one of those women who gets better with age and arguably looks better now than she did in her 20s.
I also think people are very quick to judge a 3-year-old, calling her stepmother mom. Also, why is a 10-year-old is told about marriage infidelity? Why did you tell your younger sister about it? Did the mom expect her daughters to hold a grudge against their dad and side with her to forget him? I also come from divorced parents because of infidelity. It was a nightmare. Both cheated, but my mom would refuse to sit next to dad at mine and my brother's graduation. She missed some of my celebrations because she could not stand him. I always had to choose with which to celebrate something. Imagine being Bela at 17 years old and just wanting to celebrate her graduation without drama. She pushed too much by asking mom to pay for dad and stepmom, but mom could not separate the importance of a daughter's milestone from a 15-year-long grudge. I think dad and mom are the guilty ones here. Your children should not decide between nor judge parents because of their infidelity as a spouse. It is a different relationship. I think you were also brainwashed. Why is mom not paying for Bela boarding while she was at college? Does it have to do with custody or favoritism towards the loyal daughter? You and Bela can now have perspective on their choices, and to me it seems both are wrong in taking sides. You are not guilty by what she said to her sister now that she was cheated on, but are guilty for judging the actions of a small kid accepting her stepmom.
To be fair, no one outwardly told me. It was one of those I overheard something I shouldn't conversations when I was supposed to be asleep, and my mom didn't lie when I asked her about it. Also, as stated prior, I told Bela after she kept trying to pressure me to get mom to agree to share a Mother's Day with Judy.
So Bela was 3 years old, huh? And didn't know anything for the next decade and was then expected to just throw over the woman she called mom, who had been there her entire life? And people are shocked that instead she strove to return to what had been normal for her entire life? Come on.
If Bela values her fantasy more than respecting our mom's feelings and boundaries, then that's her problem. My mom never told Bela that she wasn't allowed to still have a relationship with her.
I hope you guys enjoyed that first story. Let's now listen to a second story with a husband who wants a divorce for an understandable reason, but with a really bad timing.
Am I guilty for telling my cheating wife, a day before our daughter's graduation, that I would be divorcing her? My wife and I have been married for 20 years and we have a daughter who's 18. She graduated high school a few months ago. Around 6 years ago, I found out that my wife was cheating on me and having an affair which lasted for a couple of months. I really wanted to divorce, but my wife was really remorseful. She quit her job, she started going to therapy, she promised all the reconciliation steps I asked for. Ultimately, I did decide to stay with my wife for her sake and for our family's sake too. For around 5 years, everything was actually going great, and we had date nights, romantic vacations, and we really loved each other. However, in the 6th year, the whole thing resurfaced back on my mind, and I just couldn't get my mind off it. I finally made my decision after a particular line from my sister struck a chord with me. She said, "Would you really want to use the gift of life and spend it with someone who had betrayed you so badly?" She told me this a couple of days before my daughter's graduation, and that's when I finally decided I couldn't do it anymore. A day before my daughter's graduation, I informed my wife of my decision and told her that I would be filing for divorce soon. My wife was shocked, and she cried a lot and told me she would do anything, but I told her that my decision was final. My daughter's graduation in itself was great, and I was really proud of my daughter. And my wife seemed happy too, but my daughter could sense something was wrong and asked me why her mom seemed down and trying to fake a smile. I told her not to worry about it and to just enjoy the day. The next day, however, I told my daughter I would be filing for divorce, and my daughter seemed shocked. She said how I could do this to her mom before graduation, and that's why her mom couldn't enjoy it. I told her it's none of her business, but we'll both always love her regardless. My wife and I are now going through divorce proceedings. Am I guilty? And now, let's listen to some comment before I give you the update. A comment from Gravy Train. You are absolutely within your right to end your relationship for whatever reason you have. That doesn't make you guilty. What does make you absolutely guilty is how you chose to do it, your complete lack of empathy and thought about timing your announcement. Even if just for the sake of your daughter. Your wife ruined your relationship 6 years ago. You ruined your daughter's high school graduation day. She's not going to ever graduate from high school again. You forever tainted this moment for her. Like others have said, you waited 6 years already. What would another few days have been? This was completely selfish, no consideration for anyone else. A comment from Ostrich Food. Agreed 100%. The other thought is that he actually doesn't love his daughter and just waited until she finishes school, so he doesn't have to pay child support. If this was true and I was the kid, I'd never speak to him again. A comment from Saveza Me Please. I would assume that you were going to being guilty with that timing. You didn't have to do that to your daughter. You have to update, as the responses are getting heavily against you. I mean, the little penis, go sleep with your sister, I hope your ex takes everything from you, and alimony is overly rough. I don't believe you are an asshole for divorcing your wife. You tried to live with her infidelity but couldn't come to terms with it. You should divorce her. Your timing at the expense of your daughter equals guilty. Divorcing after failing to come to terms with your partner's past infidelity, not guilty. A comment from Faithlessness Away. I agree. The timing for telling his wife feels intentional. Like she blew up his world with cheating and he is using this moment to return the favor. I don't think he thought about the fallout for his daughter and how he'd be ruining her graduation, or just didn't care because he was the one pulling the pain strings for his wife. That makes him the asshole. Not choosing to leave her, he has every right to do that, cheater or not. It's hard to shake the feeling he picked this timing to inflict the most damage, payback. Also bet he thought that coming to the interweb as the person cheated on would earn him sympathy that overshadows him totally blowing up his daughter's achievement. A comment from Elegant Cockroach. I think you planned this for 6 years. No child support. Screwed up his wife's career by keeping her out of the workforce. But then again, you could be such an ass that it comes naturally. A comment from Schlemiel Schlemazel. You are guilty. You could have waited a few days. Also, if you were happy, why did you let that line from your sister affect you so much? Are you easily influenced by others? Is the appearance of having always had a perfect marriage so important to you? Isn't the point to get a deeper and deeper understanding of the other person and ourselves? A comment from You/Big Life. Cheaters don't really deserve that. He already had mercy on her by not divorcing her immediately when she cheated. A response from the author. Willing Acts. It wasn't just that line, and it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. I was dwelling on it for the past year or so and talking it out with my sister. She told me that it was finally time I put myself first, and that I deserved to be with someone who would unconditionally love me, someone who would be there for me through thick and thin, and someone who would never betray me. A comment from Goose Lake Ballerina. I would have waited a bit after her graduation, since you already waited so long. Her graduation was marred due to her mom having to fake joy. Your daughter clearly picked up on it. Now, she finds out the day after, further marrying her memory of that day. You're not the asshole for deciding on a divorce, but your timing was a bit stupid. A response from the author. Willing Acts. I just wanted to be honest and transparent with my wife once I made the decision. I was also able to enjoy my daughter's graduation, and a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My daughter's graduation day was the proudest day of my life. A comment from Logical XR. Are you having a midlife crisis? You forgave her. You waited 6 years. Did a young chick make it so these memories resurfaced? And then you made the graduation about the divorce. Your daughter will forever remember that. Yes, you are guilty. A response from the author. Willing Acts. My daughter did have a really good time, and the graduation party was great too. We took lots of pictures, and I'm sure she will remember the day fondly. The next day, however, I told my daughter about the divorce because she kept asking me about why her mom seemed so down. I didn't really want to break the news to her so soon after graduation, but I really had no choice because she wanted to know the truth. My daughter, of course, was really sad about hearing it, and she even broke down in tears, but divorce is just a part of life, and both me and her mom still love her. She is at college now, and I'm sure she'll get over it soon. And I don't really have a midlife crisis or some other woman. I'm not even looking to date, at least for the next few years. My focus is on myself and my family of origin. And now, for the update. Am I guilty for telling my cheating wife a day before our daughter's graduation that I would be divorcing her? My daughter called me last night and told me she came across the post I had posted, and after reading my comments, she asked how I could be so cruel to her mom. She then told me she was going to temporarily go low contact with me. I did tell her I know she's going through a lot and I'll always be there for her, but I'll respect her decision to go low contact. So that's not really the best news, but life does move on. Now a comment from the narrator. The timing was wrong. His eagerness to leave his marriage meant that the day of his daughter's graduation was the day he announced his divorce, making the community forget that his wife had cheated on him. That's why he filed for divorce. And it gives the impression in the end that he doesn't care about his daughter's feelings. In a way, he's become as selfish as his wife was when she decided to cheat on him. You wanted a divorce because your wife cheated on you. But don't disregard your daughter's feelings by simply telling her it was none of her business when you pass off her graduation day as the announcement of your divorce.
Hope you guys enjoyed that second story. Let's now listen to a third story of a girlfriend risking a relationship just to justify if she still can be validated. Am I guilty for refusing to take my girlfriend back after she cheated just to see if she still had it? I am 30 years old and have been dating my girlfriend, Rachel 27, for 2 years. She's always been confident and charismatic, which is one of the things I loved about her. Our relationship seemed solid. Good communication, lots of shared interests, and we were even talking about moving in together. A few weeks ago, Rachel admitted to me that she cheated on me during a night out with her friends. She hooked up with some guy she met at a bar. I was completely blindsided. When I asked her why she did it, she said it wasn't about me or our relationship, but because she wanted to see if she still had it. I told her that was a terrible excuse, and she started crying, saying it was a stupid mistake and that she regretted it immediately. She begged me to forgive her, saying she learned her lesson and that it would never happen again. But I can't get over the fact that she was willing to risk our relationship for something so shallow. She didn't cheat because she was unhappy or because there was a problem between us. She cheated purely to stroke her ego. Now, Rachel and some of her mutual friends are calling me unforgiving, saying that everyone makes mistakes and that I'm throwing away a great relationship over one bad choice. They say I should focus on her remorse and give her another chance. I feel like staying with her would mean betraying my own boundaries, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm being too harsh. Am I guilty for refusing to take her back? Let's listen to some comments from the community before I read the update.
Not guilty. Congrats, you still have it, but you sure as hell don't have me. The mutual friends are just as trashy as her. You'd be crazy to take her back.
She still had it because she had you. That should have been enough validation. All of this is in past tense, because I hope you use it when you break up with that cheater. Not guilty.
Now, Rachel and some of her mutual friends are calling me unforgiving, saying that everyone makes mistakes and that I'm throwing away a great relationship over one bad choice.
As a thought exercise, I'm trying to define a great relationship that includes one partner hooking up with random, let's presume infectious, partners on a whim. I'm having trouble recognizing the greatness here.
It's time to go. A year, 5 years, 10 years, and 2 kids from now. She's still going to wonder if she still has it when she sees a cute guy. Does she still have the ability to find a guy that will have sex with her? Yes, she'll probably have that for a long time. Does she still have the ability to make a serious long-term monogamous relationship work? Looks like she never did. Not guilty.
Update, a month later. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. Reading your perspectives really helped me sort through my feelings during an incredibly tough time. Here's the update. After I posted, Rachel intensified her efforts to reconcile. She sent me long texts about how she regretted everything and how I was the love of her life. When I didn't respond, she showed up at my apartment, crying and begging for another chance. I told her I still needed space and wasn't ready to talk, but before leaving, she accused me of being cold and said I was throwing away something special. A few days later, I got some new information that completely shifted things. It turns out the guy Rachel cheated with wasn't just some random hookup from a bar. He was an ex-boyfriend. She had been messaging him for weeks leading up to that night. Their conversations were flirty, suggestive, and way more than I'd consider appropriate. I found this out through someone who showed me screenshots Rachel had clearly tried to keep hidden. When I confronted Rachel with this, she initially denied it, but when I mentioned the messages, she broke down and admitted everything. She claimed she'd been feeling insecure, and reconnecting with him made her feel desirable again. She insisted it didn't mean anything and that I was still the one for her. but it felt like yet another betrayal. At that point, I told her I was done. There's no coming back from this for me. She cheated, lied, and broke my trust on multiple levels. I ended things for good, and since then, I've cut off all contact with her. It's been a rough week, but I feel at peace with my decision. As much as I cared about Rachel, I know I deserve someone who values honesty and loyalty as much as I do. Thank you again to everyone who helped me see things clearly. I'm finally moving forward. Let's listen to some last comments from the community.
You didn't throw away something special. She did it all on her own. Besides knowing what you now know, how the hell did she expect you to ever trust her? Ignore her friends. They are as delusional as she is. You did good to show her the door. If you took her back, she'll just do it again.
I really don't understand this kind of people who thinks that cheating is something you can easily brush off because it meant nothing and you are the one for me. How does that even work in their heads? If it meant nothing, why do it? Why throw away something that did mean something? And if he's the one, why do you need someone else to validate it? Do you have to go through every guy you meet to make sure you made the right call? Sorry man, it sucks to go through something like that. It's just good that it happened now, rather than later, when kids would have been involved.
Hope you guys enjoyed that third story. Let's now listen to the last story of a sister protecting her sister-in-law from her brother.
Am I guilty for protecting my sister-in-law who cheated on my brother? 2 years ago, our family was caught in a huge drama. My sister-in-law had a month-long affair with someone from her night courses. At that time, my brother was absolutely destroyed, and he wanted to divorce her. It was hell for almost 3 months, but he ultimately decided to stay married to her and work through it in counseling. I wasn't a fan of that idea, but it's his life. I think he stayed mostly for their kid. But I honestly think it's been terrible for him. Since then, everything has been miserable. My parents openly hate her now. She has stopped coming to family meetings because it's outright hostile to her. Their kid still comes around, but my mother often badmouths her in front of him. He's only 3, and it's confusing for him. My brother and I went on a road trip recently to pick up our grandmother and bring her to my parents' house for the holidays. It was 4 hours there and 4 hours back. During the drive, he started talking about the rules they have in their marriage now. Here's what he told me. My sister-in-law has to come straight home after work. She can only go out if he's with her. He inspects her phone every few days and can do surprise checks. She had to cut off all her friends and can only have new ones if he approves them. She has tracking apps on her phone and AirTags on her car, purse, and even in her running shoes. She does all the housework. Meanwhile, he has given himself a free pass to sleep with other people. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him it sounded like he was punishing her, not rebuilding their marriage. He shrugged it off and said she deserved it for what she did. I asked him if he even loved her anymore or if he hated her, because from what he was describing, it sounded like he stayed married just to make her life miserable. He got defensive and told me I didn't understand what it was like to be cheated on. But I do. I've been cheated on and it was devastating. I separated. And now I'm happy because I didn't want to live in misery with someone I couldn't trust. I told him he wasn't just making her miserable. He was making himself miserable too. He's poisoning everything for both of them, and their child will be stuck in the middle. I asked him if he would prefer to separate, co-parent, and move on to find someone he could actually trust. I said it would be better than living in this constant resentment. He didn't want to hear it and said I should mind my business. When we got to my parents' house, I asked to speak with my sister-in-law privately. I wanted to see if she was okay because this sounded awful. She broke down crying and admitted she feels trapped but is staying for their son. She begged me not to tell anyone, so I promised I wouldn't. Later my brother found out we had talked and he got furious. He accused me of protecting her and interfering in his marriage. My parents agreed with him and said I should have stayed out of it. They think she deserves everything she's getting for what she did. I feel like this is so toxic for everyone involved. No one deserves to live like this, Not even someone who made a bad choice/decision. Their son is growing up in the middle of this disaster. I just don't see how this is good for anyone. Am I in the wrong for saying something? Should I have stayed out of it? Edit, not an update. I've read some of the responses, and I see that many people believe my sister-in-law deserves this because she cheated. I understand why people feel that way. Cheating is not a simple mistake. It is a deliberate series of decisions someone makes, knowing full well the harm it will cause. It is a betrayal of trust and a violation of the foundation of a relationship. What my sister-in-law did was completely wrong, and the pain she caused my brother is undeniable. Even when we acknowledge how serious her actions were, I think it is important to ask whether the response is proportionate. At what point does holding someone accountable for their actions cross the line into punishment that goes too far? Is it justified to control every aspect of someone's life indefinitely because of their betrayal? Does one series of terrible decisions mean they deserve to lose their autonomy and live under constant surveillance? Punishment and accountability are not the same. Punishment focuses on revenge and making someone suffer. Accountability is about addressing the harm, rebuilding trust, and creating space for healing. What my brother is doing feels much more like punishment than accountability. There is a difference between healthy boundaries and excessive control. Healthy boundaries might include open communication, setting clear expectations, and working together to rebuild trust. What my brother has done is create a dynamic where one person has all the power and the other has none. That is not healing, and it is not a foundation for a strong relationship. It is a cycle of resentment and control. When I was cheated on, I did a lot of thinking. At first, I wanted my ex-partner to suffer. I fantasized about revenge every day. I would make up scenarios in my head about ways to sabotage his life and make him as miserable as I was. But the truth is, I was the one who was miserable. Holding on to that anger only hurt me more. Letting go did not mean forgiving my ex or saying what he did was okay, but it allowed me to move on and focus on building a better future for myself. If my brother truly cannot forgive my sister-in-law, that is his right. But staying in this marriage just to punish her is not helping him heal. It is keeping him in the same pain and resentment I felt. It is not just affecting her. It is affecting him, their child, and everyone around them. This is not accountability, and it is not about rebuilding trust. It is about control, and it is creating an environment of anger and bitterness that helps no one. I ask again, where is the line? At what point does addressing harm become a way to perpetuate it? Does anyone truly benefit from living in this kind of misery? If my brother wants to move forward, whether with her or without her, he needs to think about what that looks like in a way that actually heals instead of keeping everyone stuck in the past.
Let's listen to some comments from the community and answers from the author before the end of the video.
Not guilty. Your sister-in-law needs to move forward with divorce, and brother needs to move and forgive her for his own mental health and his son. Maybe everyone could prioritize the child who will end up being the final victim of this mess.
I don't think he has to forgive her, but he has to let go. He is also only hurting himself. Like one day he is going to wake up and hate her even more because he spent his life hating her.
Both are idiots. She could also ask for divorce and move on. This way, all the Lil son learns is what mistrust, resentment, hate in a relationship means. And you're right, he is also punishing himself. He'd rather live in hate than moving on and find peace and happiness, and his hate will follow their son's life. We all know that parents are the main cause of all the trauma in the adult life. Everyone who goes to therapy figures out that their issues lie mostly in their childhood. And your parents also add to the boy's conflicted view of women. How will the boy respect women when all he sees is that they deserve to be punished? And even when you don't fight in front of the kids, enough studies have shown that kids can feel the thick air. He is destroying his son by staying in this environment. But yet let's live in the illusion that living with a person you hate is better for the child than living in peaceful households.
Yes, she definitely could. But she is also a coward. Or else she would not have cheated. However, I do not know how safe my brother is at the moment. It would not surprise me if he had held something over her head. like child custody or something like that. She would not say more but hinted strongly at that. But I don't think I can quite believe either of them. They should just end things. Thank you for listening to this story. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the community. What would you have done in that situation? And for those who stayed to the end, thank you. If you like this type of content, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon.